as a multi-stage, as a multi-stage innovation curation and venture development firm, but our entire focus lies on creating social impact. So we support startups which are working in the social impact space, and our primary focus on doing this, or the reason behind us picking up this cause when it comes to working on social impact issues, is that India as a country faces so many challenges. As a nation, we are such we have challenges ranging from poverty in terms of healthcare, in terms of malnutrition. But at the same time, we are also a country which has amazing opportunities. At the same time, we boast of becoming a $1 trillion economy. We have a good 80% of the households connected to the banking system. We have 40% installed electricity through renewables. So what I'm trying to say is that India, as a country, is placed in a way where there are a good number of opportunities, but at the same time, there are challenges in terms of how do we, overcome this drudgery and the misery which we see around us. So it is in this, gap where Social Alpha comes in and tries to play its role. At Social Alpha, we have primarily three verticals in which we look at startups. These three verticals are one is the livelihoods vertical, livelihoods in agriculture. The another one is healthcare. And the third one is the climate and sustainability vertical. And these are the three verticals which we have sort of figured out over time as to which are the important problems should we go about solving, or we should we go about looking at from a perspective where we can help startups build products around solving problems in these three verticals. So our process is driven very much from our understanding of each and every vertical over the years. So from our perspective, we look at every vertical, the problem statements existing in every vertical. We try to develop a thesis in each and every vertical, and within each thesis, we are looking to develop our understanding, across the entire vertical. So within livelihood, we are looking at livelihood in agriculture. We are looking at post-harvest. We are looking at dairy as a thesis. Similarly, in healthcare, we have a thesis on diagnostics. We have a thesis on therapeutics. And within climate and sustainability, we have, let's say, thesis on circularity and circular economy. We have a thesis on energy storage and energy access. So it is from these theses, which we consider are like, nothing less than sort of a holy book for us, wherein we draw our understanding of the ecosystem in that particular vertical, and then we look for startups to support in these particular three verticals. And then when it comes to actual support, we have a three-stage sort of working innovation curation and venture development understanding, where we have on one end the innovation ecosystem, where we curate the problems and the challenges by running, by allowing access to round the year application forms regarding programs. We run specific challenges. We scout for startups working on certain areas. We have multiple partners with whom we connect on furthering the implementation of the product development for startups. And at the same time, in the incubation model, we have various process in terms of we figure out how to do the due diligence and how to venture incubate the entire startup and see where exactly the startup needs help. And we also help them engage in terms of how to look for more opportunities in terms of funding, how to fine tune depending on the market they're trying to serve. And finally, once they're at a commercialization stage, we also commit with investments when they're at a stage where they're looking to sort of improve their scalability and improve overall approach to the market. So this is like a three-tier model or a structure which we follow. And at the same time, this is from a very broad understanding which I have given about Social Alpha. We have two dedicated space, one in Bangalore and one in Delhi, where we are equipped with
Hriday,
Yeah,
sorry
just
to interject.
I'll just finish it off. This
Yeah.
is my, this is my last
Hmm.
10 seconds. So we have got dedicated spaces in Delhi and Bangalore. We have got, we have state-of-the-art machinery and lab support. Wherein in Delhi, we have specifically have good capacity in terms of energy storage. So we have got EMI, EMC chambers. We have got battery cell cyclers and battery testing facility available. So any startup working in the energy storage space would find itself in a very good spot when it comes to, in terms of lab support, specifically from the Delhi's office. Similarly, we have great facilities available in the Bangalore setup as well, where we have where the entire facility is tailored towards helping assist startups in the assistive technology in the healthcare sector. This overall, in a nutshell, I hope I'm being able to give you a broad understanding of what Social Alpha does. Over to you, Pranita. Thanks.
Thanks, Hriday, for that introduction. I'm sure that startup in your network probably will reach out to you based on their alignment of their work with your focus areas. So thank you for that. Then next I invite Dr. Snehal Kumar from MediTBI to briefly talk about, and if we can just cover it in a couple of minutes, it will be really great. Snehal, you are on mute.
Are my slides are visible, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Okay. So thank you. I will not take much time. So let me, myself, Dr. Snehal, working as a business manager at MediHub TBI, which is located at Anand, Gujarat, which was established in the year of 2020. Agribusiness incubator looking at all aspects of technology management, business, and incubation in the field of medicinal and aromatic plant. And we will see that the business environment in this sector, we have observed that herbal medicine serves a primary healthcare need of about 80% of the world population, and the demand of herbal medicinal plant as well as its product in the international and national market has been growing at impressive rate, and it continues to flourish. And we can see that the medicinal aromatic plant not only important in the healthcare system, but also important to boost economy. So yes, we have always option of cultivation of medicinal aromatic plant, but there is one more option is the value addition. There we can look upon, and some of example we can look into that herbal ice cream, like herbal beverages, herbal cosmetic, and herbal baby food products. And coming to the agribusiness incubator, as you all know that it is a process of starting agribusiness venture and catalyze by supporting the entrepreneur with agriculture technology, business consultancy, networking with management, expert, funding, infrastructure facilities, and other facilities. So this is all about agribusiness incubator and how these various incubations are supporting to these incubators and other startups. So the various incubation helping the other startups like in the saving rent, improving their focus, networking with other startups. We can learn and grow with each other, and we also help them in finding funding, like various sources, like one of this program like BIRAC. Then our vision is like commercialization, innovation, and to bring startups in medicinal and aromatic plant with the best-in-class support system for the entrepreneurs. Then coming to the facilities, MediHub TBI we have more than 100 plus prerequisite expertise in the relevant to the medicinal and aromatic plant as well as in the agriculture. We propose to facilitate innovation to become a business venture, and then we promote development of medicinal and aromatic plant sector along with the technology transfer. We regularly organize sensitization workshop, boot camps, seminars, and other activities. Then coming to the services that we are provided at MediHub TBI, we provide technology consultation like guidance, then guidance regarding registration, licensing, and other technologies that available at MediHub TBI and IIT MPR. Then business consultation, we assist to our incubator, like help in business plan development, go to market strategy like backward and forward market linkages. Then mentoring and networking service that we are providing. We enhance knowledge and skill through technical and business training, and also with networking with other institutions. Then infra facilities, we facilitation of product development and access to research and development lab. We provide production facilities at our institute, plug and play office spaces and meeting rooms for the incubating. Then access to funding, you can say the assistant in the preparation of business plan proposal, pitch deck, and linkage with the bank, financial institution, and other investors. After that, the other services like knowledge sharing, with promotion of the incubated startup for the wide acceptance among the consumers. So these are the major 6 services that we are providing at MediHub TBI. And admission required to MediHub TBI, you just need a novel idea, and you need to fill a Google form, and then it should be commercially viable and feasible, and it should be related to medicinal and aromatic plant as well as agriculture. Then any enterprise and industries or research and development organization for the commercialization, they can also apply, and minimum qualification and experience are required, and then it should be free from legal aspect. Coming to
Dr. Snehal, Dr. Snehal probably will
yes,
have
yes, ma'am. I'll finish in 10 seconds. So this is our tracing activities. We are regularly organized entrepreneurship development program and then training. And here are the incubators currently, like Atri Products, Bilbam Herbal, then Farm Tech. These are the various incubators that registered with us. And thank you. If anyone interested, I will share our incubation link in our chat box. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Snehal. I think Bionest Incubation Center, Naipar Guwahati, Dr. Krishna Undela.
Yeah,
I think
thank you.
Speak something. Yeah.
Thank
Dr.
you,
Krishna,
Dr.
if you can
Pranita.
keep it really, if you can keep it
sure.
really crisp. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Pranita. And good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Krishna Undela, representing Bionest Naipar Guwahati Incubation Center as a scientific coordinator. So this one is going to be the gist of the activities we are doing since 2019. So we started establishing Bionest Incubation Center at Naipar Guwahati in 2019 with the funding support of BIRAC with worth of 10 crores. And then onwards, after that, we have seen the COVID-19, but still we were able to achieve significant numbers here. You can see like there are 3 incubators were graduated, and all the 3 were BIRAC big grantees, and they got the funding from BIRAC for doing the project at Bionest Naipar Guwahati Incubation Center. And then currently we have 2 incubators who received the big grant from BIRAC as a national incubators, and there are 6 incubators who got the BIRAC the special call, that is a Northeast call. They received the funding from BIRAC, and they're currently incubated at Bionest Incubation Center. And out of which we can probably say that there are 5 women incubators, especially from Northeast region and other states of Northeast region, not only Assam. And apart from that, we are incubating traditional healers who are dealing with the herbal products for treating different conditions. We are trying to support them to validate the product so that they can bring these products into the market officially. And we are also conducting frequently the ideathon and hackathons, where we are identifying the people who are having the concepts, so that we are providing some pre-incubation support. They can develop the proof of concept. And we have currently the 14 incubators to whom we are giving the pre-incubation support. And overall, we have conducted 47 programs all over Northeast, and we have reached to almost all the places in Northeast and conducted both offline and online programs to reach the public and explain about them incubation and the entrepreneurship innovations concepts, so that we are able to get a good number of incubators in our center. And then till date, our incubators developed 6 prototypes. I'm going to show in the next slide. And out of that, they have generated 6 patents, and we have created some jobs as well through this Bionest Incubation Center. And these are the 6 prototypes developed by the incubators of Naipar Guwahati Incubation Center, and starting from the vanillin from agro-waste, and there's an instant food product for malnutrition coming from a special banana, bean banana, which is produced in Northeast. And one of our incubators is working on the techno herbal product for sustainable therapy, especially for tumors, and both in animals as well as human beings. And our incubators from Manipur, they have developed a livestock management probiotic, especially for the livestock management. And the incubators from IIT, they have developed a prosthetic hand, where it is under the sense of ownership. And one of our in-house incubators, the faculty of Naipar Guwahati, developed a product, a lutein, from the marigold, So which is giving almost a highly pure 96% HPLC purity of lutein. So this is some of the products which are in the verge of marketing, and after maybe the scale development, and soon they can go into the market. So these are some of the activities, what exactly we are doing from Bionas Nipagauti, and thank you very much all the audience for having you for this session.
Thank you, Dr. Krishna. I think I'll just request few partners if they would like to, speak about their organization. Keep it 1 or 2 minutes. If there are any, we want you to go ahead. Few of these partners have asked initially, so I've announced that if anyone would like to speak, we can have it for another 5 minutes, and then we can get started. It's already 4:21. So anyone would like to do that? Otherwise, I can get started. Oh, Kiran, you would like to do that? Then just go ahead for a couple of minutes.
Right. Thanks, Dr. Pranita. Hello, good evening to all the audience and the co-panelists over here. Thanks for the opportunity, SINE team. So I'm Kiran Uppala. I'm representing Majumdar Shah Medical Foundation Technology Business Incubator. We are India's first hostel-based incubator, supported by the DST through NIDI and DBT through Bionas and the Startup India Seed Fund Scheme. So the unique nature of our incubator is we are based inside a hospital, making it very clean for any of the life sciences startups to approach any of the B2B startups in the clinical domain space. Because we are a specialized life sciences incubator, we do operate in the clinical spaces, ranging or providing support right from ideation until pre-commercialization, and then supporting startups across the life sciences in their product development, right, in terms of the access to the laboratories, access to the key opinion leaders like clinicians, regulatory support, clinical validation support, which is paramount importance for the life sciences startups. So far, since inception, we have supported close to 40+ startups, and then majority of them are already in the marketplace. And then we are also supported by the esteemed board of directors like Dr. Kiran Majumdar Shah of Biocon Foundation, Dr. Devi Shetty of Narayana Group of Hospital, and Dr. Paul Salins, who is the existing managing director and then senior vice president of the Narayana Group of Hospitals. So we would be happy to support or collaborate for any of the startups who would like to have an in-depth understanding of our expertise, and then we can happy to support them. Thanks for the opportunities. What to you, Dr. Pranita?
Thanks, Kiran. Dr. Karnasagar, you want to speak something, right? Please go ahead. If you could keep it 2 minutes here.
Yeah. So thank you for the opportunity. So being an ecosystem partner itself is a pleasure and an honor. NITI University, as you would know, is a multidisciplinary institution with our Chancellor, Shri Vinay Hegde, and our Vice Chancellor, Professor Muditaya. We have been moving forward in being able to start one of the important centers. So we host the DST Technology Enabling Center at NITI University. Here we provide an enabling environment to move from ideation to product development, networking with a large number of industries and institutions that help to build interdisciplinary teams, and that has been our strength so far. And this helps in translational research. With an engineering college, which is a very important part of the university, a medical university here, and all other allied health sciences as well as pharmacy colleges, we have teams that have a range of expertise that we can use for ourselves and also provide to others to enable technology development. At NITI University, we also have a research center that is referred to as the Center for Science Education and Research, where different kinds of models are used, especially for biotech-related research. We work on cell culture model, Drosophila model, zebrafish model, and Caenorhabditis model. Now, in such a center, a very powerful animal health facility is also located, which helps a lot in planning experiments, especially in pharmacology, pharmacy-related subjects. And NITI has a 1,200 bedded hospital with about 22 rural health centers, facilities for clinical trials involving all specialties and super specialties as possible. And with a compendium that has been developed of high-end research equipment that can be used by startups and technology developers, of course, at a nominal cost, we believe that in recognizing NITE University as one of the ecosystem partners. It will be useful for us to connect with all others as also to help others. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Indra, ma'am. Thank you so much. I think I request other partners that if you also would like to say something, we open the session again towards the end of 10 minutes where we cover introduction from other partners as well. We request that we move ahead with session, because two experts who are going to join for just 10-15 minutes, probably in the time span of 4:45 to 5:15. So before that, I will quickly talk about what are the BIG related eligibility criteria and other things which could be essential to set the context for when they come and talk about BIG. It will make more sense for our participants. So thank you all for introducing your organization here. Let me just share my screen and start immediately with the presentation, and then we can quickly move to the experts, talking to experts, and then Q&A. So we have already basically.
Hello, Pranti, can we have full slide? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So I think we are here to talk about BIG grant, Biotechnology Aggregation Grant. It is one of the early stage largest biotech funding available, which is from ideation to proof of concept. And the call for this has already opened on 1st July and it will close on 16th August 2023. The time for closure is 5:30 p.m. Please take a note of this. So we will take a brief overview about the BIG session, BIG program scheme in this particular thing. This is about SINE as other incubators. SINE is also a technology business incubator at IIT Bombay. We are functional from 2004. These are some of the programs: pre-incubation, incubation, accelerator programs, some of the infrastructure facility funding, network visibility, all those will happen when you get in touch with incubators. There are many incubators, present here today on this forum as well. So I will directly go to the, BIG process. There are two entities which are important here for any BIG, application. One is the BIG partner, because BIG partners are implementation partners. So though it is a scheme from BIRAC, BIRAC has appointed these 8 partners. SINE is one of them, and who actually looks into or implement this scheme pan-India. Now, BIG partner will someone who is going to, through which you will be applying. They will handhold you while the application, during the application process, post-application, the review. They will keep you posted about, the status of your application, take your application through different review processes, help you or mentor you if you get shortlisted for presentation, round where you have, you do face-to-face presentation. It happens nowadays virtual mode. So those are the steps where a BIG partner will help you. And if you get shortlisted for funding, then BIG partner will also disburse the funds in tranches as per the mandate of the program, and handhold you throughout your BIG project, which is a 18 months duration program. So this is what BIG partners generally do. And when you have chosen some BIG partner, you also get access to their network. At least with SINE, it happens that all BIG grantees from our BIG grantees who chose SINE as their BIG partner, they get access to our entire network. So this is another advantage. Now, we have several incubators here on this forum. Incubators are essential because one of the mandate of the BIG program is that you have to be associated with the incubator. So your entire work of BIG needs to be done at the incubator place. For example, where you can get labs, plug and play, office space, all that will be provided by your incubators. These incubators may help you with the, as I said, infrastructure. They may help you further follow on funding, hand-holding the startups, throughout this journey. So BIG partner and incubator both are essential, and that is why we all are here. So you can choose any BIG, any incubator, which is aligned with your area of, work, which you'll be choosing for BIG. So you can choose those incubator. You can choose SINE as your BIG partner. I have already mentioned what as a BIG partner we offer is that grant writing support, mentoring support, hand-holding during your application process. Then we also help you during the mentoring, when you are going to, let's say if you get shortlisted for presentation round, we will help you, mentoring, preparing your presentation, all the feedback you can receive from the mentors and experts. Then we are also incubator. So anybody who is available in this geographical location and would like to incubate with us during their BIG program, we also provide incubation facility. We have a network of our past grantees. We have so far, 38 grantees from previous cycle. And of course, like any other incubator, you will get a lot of networking support here with us as well. Now, purpose of this BIG grant is, as I've already mentioned, it is one of the early stage largest biotech funding up to 50 lakh, and that is from ideation to POC. But then only exploratory research work is not supported under this program. So if you have any idea or a work done which has a commercial potential, then those kind of ideas or work can get supported here. Now, who are the target audience for this is any graduate, bioscience medical degree holders, MSc, MTech, PhDs, postdoc, faculty members, clinicians, any employee who has a graduate, he's been graduate, has a graduate degree, and has expertise in the area, or the work or the translational work which has an application in any bio-related area. Those can apply for this grant. I have already mentioned that the grant support is 50 lakh. 22 calls have been so far, concluded. Now we are in 23rd call, which is currently open for application. There are 5 themes under BIG under which you can submit your application. Now, why theme is really important? Because if you submit your application under incorrect theme, then your application goes to the panelists or the reviewers which are as per that theme, and it may not reach to the relevant people so that they cannot review it properly. So here what I'll say, before submitting your application, whoever you are going to choose your BIG partner, do talk to them and take their advice if there is any confusion regarding under which theme you should submit. Now, there are themes under medical devices, drugs, biosimilar, diagnostics. Then there is agriculture, secondary agriculture, and then there is an industrial biotechnology. All these themes under which you can submit your application. AI, ML, IoT software solutions are also supported. For example, any robot for any simulation mechanism for in the healthcare segment is also supported. EHR platforms have been supported under this. Now, under agri-tech, there are robots, cotton picking robots, or any robots who help in doing the agriculture related work. Those have been supported in this. Clean energy, biomaterial, biopackaging, your bio-based conversion to valuable things. Those have been also supported so far. These are achievements of BIG. More than 2,200 IPs have been filed, 330 plus innovators have been supported so far, more than 800 plus employment have been generated. Now, who can apply? I've already mentioned who can apply, but there are 2 categories under which you can apply. If you don't have a startup at this moment, the scheme doesn't want you to incorporate startup and apply. You can apply as an individual as well, and you can apply as a company as well. But if you have a company, then you have to apply through company. You cannot apply as an individual. Private limited companies, LLPs are eligible to apply. However, the age of the companies should not be more than 5 years from the date of call launch. Then proprietorships are not allowed to apply. They are not eligible basically for this scheme. Any PI or any applicant who is applying through private limited company or LLP, they should be shareholder in the company. Okay, so sometimes employees of the company do apply and they don't hold any shares. So where, the application becomes ineligible. So please take a note of this. There is no cap on how much shares PI should hold, but they should be shareholder in the company. Now, all the company related documents needs to be uploaded along with the application. When it comes to the individual, passport is one of the document which needs to be uploaded, even in case of a company where PI, has to upload their passport. If you do not have passport, start application, immediately, and you can provide the supporting documents saying that you have started the application for passport. Meanwhile, you can submit submit your Aadhaar card along with the application. Now, you can also, you have to also mention the details about your team members. You need LOI if you're not really incubated anywhere right now. So you can take a letter of intent from the incubator, which says that if you get this grant, you will incubate with this incubator. So you can choose the incubator wisely, who is aligned or, who has the same focus as your area of, BIG project. If you are a faculty member or a student postdoc in any university, you need a NOC, that is NOC from your institute, saying that you can apply for this grant, you can receive such fund, and then going forward, you can incorporate the startup as well. At the same time, some IP related, if you generate any intellectual property in this, particular grant, then claim of the IPs and all those clarity should be there in this NOC. If you need any further information on this particular thing, please do reach out to us. Then, if you are a private employee in the private firms, then you have to quit your employment during this 18 months period of BIG. So that undertaking also you'll have to submit along with the application. Now, quickly on the process of BIG, because it's really extensive screening process, application process, review process, and finally, when you get the fund, there again a due diligence process happens. So entire duration to get the money is almost 6 to 8 months. Now, there are why so much time is taken, because there are 5 steps. Eligibility, when you submit your application, you choose your BIG partner, the application goes to that BIG partner. They do the initial eligibility screening, and then the second step is the preliminary screening committee. So eligibility screening is basically checking all your documents, your eligibility, your in terms of your educational qualification, if you have submitted all the documents or not, and then plagiarism check. If PSC's preliminary screening committee looks at if you have submitted a sufficient data with the application or not, because if there is not sufficient data, the reviewers may not be able to review your application properly. So that all checks are done at the BIG partner level. Now, when your application goes to the next level, that is online review, all this is happening on the BIRAC portal. Now, online review is the stage where all the application from all 8 BIG partner goes to the central pool at BIRAC, where they segregate the application in under different themes. There are 5 themes, as I've already mentioned, and then 5 reviewers. Which are again, all this happens on the online platform, BIRAC portal, where all these mentors or reviewers are onboarded on that platform. This is the pool which is created by BIRAC, certified by them. And then these reviewers, there are 5 reviewers for each application: domain expert, technical expert, scientist, maybe a faculty member, industry person, investor. These are different domains looking at your application. So all the documents which needs to be there attached along with the application, for example, novelty, concept note, any other document, pitch deck, please do provide them, because they just have your application to review your project, and then accordingly they score. Once they score, all 5 people or 5 experts, once they score, the thematic geometric mean is pulled from that, and whoever has scored more than 60, they go to the next level, that is technical evaluation panel. However, before that, nowadays, since we are getting more than 1,000 applications in any cycle, so what happens is that even at this stage, the cutoff score is decided. So this cutoff score is decided at BIRAC internal committee level, and they decide some score. Whoever falls in that cutoff score, whoever falls in that cutoff score, they actually get selected for the next. They actually get selected for the next level. So technical evaluation panel is where you actually have a face-to-face presentation in virtual platform with experts. Now there are 8 to 10 experts. Again, the consortium remains the same: the scientists, faculty members, industry people. Then there are investors. All these people, sometimes there are, people from intellectual property expert, some regulatory, expert, so that they can evaluate your proposal from all the angles. Now you have to, there is a 8-minute voice of over PPT which needs to be presented, and BIG partner helps you to get prepared. They help you to prepare the presentation. They help you to, help you to understand how you should present to the committee, how you should be brief and crisp in answering the committee's questions, so that you get a more chance to answer more questions and clarify their doubts about you. So this is where BIG partner will contribute more. And then further, once whoever gets selected, again above 60, again these all expert will give you score, geometric mean will be pulled from that, and then whoever score more 60 again goes to the next level. Now ESC is the expert selection committee where chairs and in the cutoff. And in this cutoff, they decide how many applications should go to for the funding, final funding. Generally, what we saw, what we have been experiencing is that around 50 to 60 applications selected each cycle. Now, the selection rate is almost 7 to 10%. So it is very competitive grant. So we request you to submit all the necessary document, preliminary data, relevant citation, or whichever you have along with your application. Now, post that if you get shortlisted for funding, it takes another 2 months. Here, your BIG partner will again come into the picture where they will help you. They will do the due diligence. There is a Nolian bank account opening, then other documents, agreement signing, all that will take almost 1.5 months. So this whole entire process takes almost 6 to 8 months. Again, funds are released into 3 tranches. I think we have spoken about, I have just mentioned about that. Now, what is the evaluation parameters here is that, you are scored on several parameters. Okay, when you submit your application, one of the important thing is the unmet need. I think if you are able to highlight what is the problem statement you are working on, and why this problem statement is really an unmet need, or what gap you are trying to fill in, that you'll have to highlight. And you in a application, you have a small section. You'll have to first highlight your unmet need, what solution you're proposing, and then what is the value proposition, differentiation, market size. You have literally, you have to do it all of this in couple of sentences. So please highlight those very briefly, because reviewers are reviewing many applications, so they may not have time to read a long essays or something. So try to write in a very crisp and brief manner. Even your title should not be have too many technical jargons or something, because understand that in maybe industry people are also reviewing your application, so everyone may not able to understand all the technical terminologies. But try to avoid and keep it really simple, so that you actually gain their attention in initial 10 to 15 seconds while they're reading your title, and it seems really interesting, so that they go further and read more, and then they can score you accordingly, appropriately on this different parameter. One of the thing which I would like to highlight here is the team. Since this is a tech, this is really for initial period. For example, ideation to POC, mostly reviewers focus on the technology. However, they also see if this idea can be techno-commercial. It can be commercially viable idea or not. That also is one of the angles. So that you'll have to focus on. But technology is the whole I'll say a soul of your BIG proposal. So you'll have to really work on the technology part writing. Team is one of the important thing, because your startup, your ideas and everything is driven by your team. So relevant team, interdisciplinary team, having people from different backgrounds based on what, of course, your project. If your project demands that, you must have those. It is not necessary to have at the beginning a business mentor, but a business person in the team, but it would be good to have them as an advisor. So whoever you cannot have as a team member, you can have them as advisors. A relevant team member and the team strength and the advisors on your application may help you to go to the next screening, help you to get shortlisted for the funding. Okay, I will not say much on this, because I mean that we have also invited expert to speak on that. Now TRL, your TRL should be below 4. Now there is a lot of confusion when you submit your application. Please do not write incorrect TRL level, because sometimes reviewers may feel that you may be are not coming under the scope of BIG, because BIG is up to 4 or 5, not beyond that. So please do reach out to your BIG partner to understand your correct TRL level. I'll briefly touch upon these points, not taking much time, but I have already mentioned that problem statement is really important. Now your end user mapping is also really important, because I've seen that solution or technologies, people sometimes do get confused with the end user and their client and customer. Sometimes they could be similar. For example, your solution could be for clinician. So your end users probably, your clients and customers are clinician. However, patients may get benefited through that. So you have to really understand and clearly mention in your proposal who are these. If you are, and it is expected that you should speak to your clients and customer, gather the data, validate your problem statement. So please do that and include the finding of those discussions in your application, so that the people understand that you have already done that. I have already mentioned the technology details are really important. So concept note becomes really important here, because your technology details goes there. It could be in the form of graphical presentation, flow charts, it could be pictorial as well. Okay, try to write, keep it a lesser text. These manner, graphical manner, pictorial, or flow chart. These presentation help reviewers to understand at a shorter duration. I again understand they have too many applications to review, so you probably would like to gain their attention. So be very creative in writing concept note. It should not be more than a page or so. Novelty, slide deck really becomes important. Slide deck, please highlight problem statement, technology, competitive landscape. Highlight that, who are your competitors and how you are better than that. What value you are bringing on the table, please do highlight, and how you're different than them. Because if you don't do that, those are the questions which keep coming to you in presentation. If you are facing you're having face-to-face presentation or online reviewers, where online reviewers will not be able to reach out to you for any explanation or answer. So please try to include all the details here. All your supporting data, technical data should be included in this. Team, I have already highlighted, these all points I have briefly touched upon, but if you need more details on that, do get in touch with us. Again, I have already briefly touched upon these: effective title, your, all the data which, if you're, submitting any data, preliminary data, lab level data, proof of concept data, try to put it in a manner, statistically, significant, which could be statistically significant. Put it in a manner of graphical presentation or other way, so that they understand that you have done that. Put error bars, cite the relevant papers or sources from where you have taken data, or draw your preliminary data or primary, I'll say primary search and all that. All that becomes really important, because it's technology based evaluation. I think I'll leave this to our experts, basically, who will be talking to you. Then important part here is that since it is it's related to funding, so budget is really, really important. Feel all these details really properly. You get equipment, capex up to 30%. This particular head is not really, you cannot modify further. So please, while you are, filling particular this equipment head, try to get the budgetary quotes from the vendors, have 18% GST included in that. Okay, now this is one of the grant where you can hire people. You get 30% of the whole project cost. Any person cannot withdraw salary more than 50K per month. Mentors, advisors, or the people or PI who's already getting salary. For example, if somebody is clinician, faculty members, or postdoc, if you're already drawing salary or you're getting fellowship from somewhere, you won't be able to take funds from here. Now you also have a outsource, from, if you want to fabricate something, if you want to have a consultancy services, you can pay it from here. You can also pay your incubation charges, rental charges, lab charges from here. IP, travel, these are some of the head, and then you also have a contingency head. Now, one small thing which you'll have to take, everybody has to take note about, is that 5% royalty you'll have to pay to BIRAC on the total net sales of your product or technology, or the revenue which you will be making. So whenever you commercialize your product, And whenever you sell something or you generate a revenue, you will pay 5% annually to the BIRAC till you return the entire fund. This clause has been embedded from the cycle 16. There is no liability to pay royalty if you foreclose your project or terminate as per the GLA. If you license your technology, there are again different consideration available with BIRAC, which you can consider later. Now, I would like to briefly mention that you have to start your application process early. It is a very extensive process. There are different sections which takes a lot of time. Sometimes registration on the BIRAC portal takes time. So submit your application a week prior, if not 1 week prior, at least 1 day prior. Don't submit your application on the last day. There are too many technical issues which happens on the portal, because everyone tries to submit their application on the last day. A deadline is 5:30 p.m., not midnight. Please take a note of this. Most of the people are not able to submit the application because they think that the deadline is midnight. Quickly, I would like to draw your attention to some of our past grantees in our network. Few in the healthcare, if I have to just mention here, is that, medical devices, device which can do deep, learning for the wound healing purposes, laser-based device. Then another is in the genomics. It's an analytical platform where you can get these results. These results less than 10 or 15 hours window. This particular startup, Haystack, they started working with TB. They applied for TB here for BIG. Now they're working on sepsis and other things. So their work also got supported under BIG. Rural surgery, again, it is a startup from clinician and one of the enthusiast, enthusiast innovator from the Northeast. They have this, cystoscope, laptop cystoscope. It is a portable one for procedure. They don't need skilled people. It can also be, somebody from remote areas, somebody from, metro cities can also guide them to do surgeries and all that. So this kind of a platform they have developed, and the device. AI Sense, again, an innovator and the faculty member from Maharashtra region. They are using voice analytics for TB detection. It's a screening tool to screen the masses. Again, the faculty member from IIT Bombay, Offlo's Cardiotech. Here, I think I would like to mention one. The project is so risky that it got only funded because they had a fantastic team and advisors backing. So that is where, team sometimes, having good advisors on your team helps you to get through this particular thing. Then again, a Mithril is couple of our, two innovators. They came together and they're working on these exoskeleton. They have a breathable and waterproof custom splint, but what BIG grant they got is for upper limb exoskeleton. Sorry, I think I'm having issues. Sorry. So I think this is some of these, I would like to share. In couple of from my end is that from agri sector, we have a cotton robot, cotton picking robot kind of also solution supported under BIG. There are some platforms, for chili, where all the relevant stakeholders can come on the platform. Those are also supported under us. Are supported under BIG, who are incubated with us, and there are also few in industrial biotechnology. There are a couple on in drug segment, and we have one grantee from that as well. Today we will be speaking to you. What I'll do is that I'll quickly hand over this session to our the expert which has joined us today. I think I can see Dr. Kalpana Shastri here. Dr. Shastri, am I audible for you?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually traveling, so
okay. So, ma'am, I'll just briefly introduce you for audience, and then I'll hand over to you. So, we can learn more from your end, because you have been part of so many BIRAC panels. So you can guide our audience here that how they can prepare themselves for such a program. So Dr. Kalpana Shastri is a distinguished agricultural scientist with nearly 3 decades of expertise in the areas of agriculture, research, technology, commercialization, intellectual property, innovation management, entrepreneurship, and startup ecosystem development in agriculture field. She is currently a managing director at Ag Hub Foundation. She's leading team there, Center for Innovation and Agri Entrepreneurship at Professor Jayashankar Telangana State Agriculture University, Hyderabad. Professor Dr. Shastri has been a recipient of several prestigious awards. She's been part of, ICAR, NAM, and worked in various hierarchical roles there. So with this brief introduction, ma'am, I hand over the session to you, and we request, a few words from your end for our audience.
I have to speak for about 10 minutes, isn't it, Pranita?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So a very good evening, and thanks again, SINE team, for inviting me. I must admit, it was a very sudden call. I truly appreciate, because it's always nice to be in this. Let me tell you, I find there are several, I think about 90 plus participants, if I'm, and spanning across, I couldn't know from which part of the country they are, but I hope they are youngsters and many people who are inclined to work into this innovation landscape. Now, BIG has been one of our most successful programs under BIRAC. Let me tell you, I have been associated with BIG since 2000. If I remember, 8, 9. I mean, it's that far. Right from the 7th or 8th call, I've been associated, and I've known many startups. So whatever I'm speaking only from a little experience which I've gathered over the years, particularly when you're evaluating. But I will be centering mostly on agri and food, because that's my forte area. I may not be the correct person for health and other stuff. Having said that, any application I give from an evaluator's point of view, the first level evaluation. I totally agree with Pranita. If you are going to apply, it's a good sum. It's a very good sum. 50 plus, it's up to 50 lakhs. It's a very good sum and a very prestigious. So be serious. It's not you're applying for the fun of it. Because the evaluators easily come to know people who have applied. I'm not against large applications, but then you have to be serious about it. You have to know why you are, find your problem statement so well that catch the eye of the evaluator. Now in agriculture, quite often,
ma'am, we are losing you.
Yeah.
We are losing you in between. Okay, if you want to close, if you want to switch off your video, that may save the bandwidth probably. Yeah, okay. You're on mute, ma'am. You're on mute. Ma'am, I think you'll have to unmute yourself.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
We have to what we call be crisp. I agree with most of the points raised by Pranita. First and foremost, set yourself a definite plan that you really are looking. Also get ready that you may not be successful in the first attempt also. No harm, absolutely no harm. Because BIG is one type which is open very meticulously on time, January 1st and July 1st. So you have no issues on it. But when you apply, look at the sector you're looking at. She said health sector, agri, food. You also have what we call industrial. So sometimes in science, there will be an overlap. You have to be smart enough to choose the correct, core health. But then suppose you have an application which is more on sustainability, a factor, energy. It can be in the clean applications. It can also be coming under agriculture if it provides, I know of some startups. I don't want to preempt, but they have worked on, say, solar energy applications. Sometimes it can work. Now, for this advice, your best person is the what we call incubation center with which you are associated, the big partner. They are the best who can advise you where you have. After all, it's a game. You're also in a competitive one. You need to look at the more crowded domain or the less crowded one if there is an issue of overlap. If it is core healthcare, it's only healthcare. So we are clear about it. Now so once you know, identify your incubation, the big partner, and the problem state. Now, in agriculture, I have had several times, and now I call it, I have thought about this because I saw a farmer. I've realized that there is farmer suicides are happening. Hence, I came. These are very loud statements which really don't attract the evaluator's mind or anything. What it attracts is if you're bringing that value with your problem identifying the problem statement, the type of work you have done to understand, and then you have identified it. I think that is the most catchy part which you should. Loud statements that I'm going to revive everything and I'm going to spoil the tears and the eyes of so-and-so, the farmer. It doesn't work. So let's not get into those at all. Let's go into more specific. So crispness, specificity, understanding your problem. Sometimes you need to do a homework. Really, some episode in your real life has triggered that clamor to do this innovation. So that you can articulate. Certainly it is good. And then what are you offering? Is it better than the others? She did do that competitor landscape. You'll have to do this work, a little bit of hard work on that. And then work on what you really want. I've also found one more thing. Everything comes out well, but the technical plan is not clear. So as an evaluator, I realized the problem was good, identified well. They have some innovation in their mind, but the execution through a specified technical plan sometimes misses. So this is another part you have to see. So going back to what I said, you identify the partner you want to do, the sector you are looking at, then understand the problem you want to look at, maybe give a little bit of, dynamic, your own personal incident which inspired you, fine, to that level, but no loud statements. And then work, after you identify the problem statement, you have to go for the technical. Now, that's where you need to identify the good mentoring team and I'm not talking about the working team, I'm talking about mentors. We've had episodes, Pranita, I can even share it. Sometimes when we are sitting in the big evaluation, suddenly some of our had the pleasure of seeing our names. We don't even know that we are mentors, but they would have just picked up and they put it. So don't do that. These are not for namesake, they are made. So you have to talk to your mentor, understand him, take his approval, and then what is the value he or she is going to give in your project is very important. Definitely identification for correct. They will even talk about how they identify the team. And then the team. Quite often it will be a 1 or 2-person team. Yeah, I do agree for a startup, you may have a difficulty, but once your technical plan is clear, you can even identify your partnering institute, partnering agencies, or also say, well, I'm going to hire these people. This is what their role. No, not only that, what role each of the team member is planning. Now we are talking about big. The regulatory aspects are equally important, whether it's healthcare or industrial biology or ag. So as a proposal, I definitely that element has to be there. So suppose you're putting on a bio insect.
I guess so. I guess Dr. Shastri got dropped out, but I think what point she was highlighting is Yes, you are back, ma'am. Yeah, we were not
started to talk. So I think in the short, I just want to highlight as the evaluator, we look at the sincerity, the hard work, team has put in their proposal. We also, you don't have to tell us. It's very easily, known, proposing the seriousness and the approach, and definitely something novel catches our eyes. That is important.
Sure, ma'am, sure. I think we lost you again. You're still here, but we are not able to hear you. Okay. I think Dr. Shastri is traveling, so connectivity is really issue for her. But what point she was trying to emphasize on is that all these. Ma'am, you are able to unmute and speak.
Sorry.
Yeah.
There was a patch where there was no connection. So this is really in the short time with all these tech glitches also. The message was identify your incubator well, identify your problem well, and trigger what made you. That is a very important message. And also be as crisp, no loud statements, and a good technical program is what will fetch you. Of course, once a technical program is in place, the mentors will be in place. Also, in the technical program, she had told you in that slide, give funding for, you should be very clear. It must be to understand whether the ask is for what. Nita, I'll stop here because this is very impromptu. I don't know whether it serves the purpose.
No. Definitely, ma'am. Definitely. I think we heard you clearly, loud and clear. Of course, some of the patches, I understand you're traveling there. And thank you for accommodating our request at such a short notice.
The big partner, but it is advised that they should go with the big one. Okay.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. So I think please everyone take a note of what Dr. Shastri has said. Here is that it's really important that if you are submitting your application in any of the themes, of course it remains all these suggestions are applicable to all themes, not just agri. But of course, certain things are different for agri, certain things are different for our healthcare sectors. But then kind of a background work or homework which you'll have to do at your end will remain the same. You'll have to validate your problems. You'll have to validate the problem which you would like to focus, and you'll have to talk to your end users, client, customers, gather the data, have the team, advisors, everybody on that, so start working on that part. And thank you, ma'am, for joining us at such a short notice. We really appreciate this. I'm sure that our audience has got to know about this suggestion. They'll definitely work on it. Now, we have another expert who will be joining us very soon. But meanwhile, if we have a grantee who has successfully got this grant, they were also at some point of time they applied for this. They have made presentation to the committee. They have made the presentation to the committee and all that. So, I invite Dr. Syed here now, and I welcome you, Dr. Syed, here, and thank you for participating in this, discussion. And we would like to know from your end, and of course, our audience would really love to understand from your end that how did you prepare for this particular program? BIG, your experience with BIG, what are the advantages? Probably talking to how did you initially, worked on your application? What are the areas where you focused? You being in the, this particular drug segment, we really would like to know from your end. So over to you, Dr. Syed.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Pranita. Am I audible?
Yes, Dr.
Okay.
Syed. Yes.
I'm on a overseas location, so pardon me if there is a bandwidth issue, but I'll try my best to make sure I'm able to communicate. Yeah, we were the awardee for in the healthcare biotech space, got to in the arena of drugs, and ours was a project very tricky and a complicated one because we are working on a recombinant endolysine for uropathogenic E. coli, which is a drug-resistant strain. So when we started working on this on the project of looking at AMR and drug-resistant strains, the first thing we looked at is bacteriophages, because they are emerging as one of the contemporary therapies. But as rightly said by Dr. Pranita and Dr. Shastri, we realized that the regulatory framework for bacteriophages is still not very well established in India. So we had to change the strategy. And then we looked at the product of a bacteriophage, which is an endolysine. This being a recombinant protein, the regulatory framework by and large gets aligned, because for therapeutic proteins, the regulatory framework is fairly well established. As a first step, what we had to do is we had to look at it from an IBSC perspective. The incubator where we had to work should have an institutional biosafety committee, because we are dealing with microorganisms. We also had to look at the biosafety level compliances, whether you need a BSL-1 or a BSL-2. The second most important thing was, this being a recombinant product, we should be able to get a clearance from the RCGM, which is also very important. So we had to look at it from that perspective. And last but not the least, even before we begin the project, we had to look at it from an ethics committee, access to an ethics committee, because when you are talking about resistant strains, then we will, and you at some point in time, we will be dealing with the clinical isolates, and we will have to make sure that there are adequate ethics committee approvals. From there on, we had to also look at it from an IP perspective, because although there are not so many companies or startups working on the concept of endolysines in India, but there are quite a few in the Western world, in Europe and US, who have already filed a good amount of patents. So if not being granted a patent, at least we have to look at it from an FTO perspective, a freedom to operate, so that we don't infringe on anybody else's patent to start with. From there on, we had to actually map the regulatory plan and the strategy. What gave a confidence to the evaluation panel, according to me, were a couple of things that even before we started the project, we had done quite a bit of work around the bioinformatics side, and to shorten down the lead optimization out there. We had also worked on a performing clone, which was and of the 5 clones that we had, at least 2 or 3 of the proteins were performing on a naive strain of BL21. And we had some very, very preliminary results out there. That is the second part. And last, like Dr. Pranita mentioned, we had a mentor who was a subject matter expert, which also gave a lot of confidence to the evaluation committee. So while we started off well, I must also confess that while the first review after the first 6 months did go well, when it came to the second review, we had the review panel members who are subject matter experts, not only in India, but global experts. So when they look at it, they don't look at it primarily from what are the milestones that we have that we have included in the big scheme, but they also look at it from a translational research perspective, where you are actually able to commercialize the product. So while the 3 milestones of the big scheme are very important from a preliminary perspective, considering the TRL levels, We also, the reviewers are more concerned whether you will actually be able to translate this to a commercialization phase, although the commercialization phase may be much beyond the big scheme. This is a three broad perspective which I have to say. And Dr. Pranita, if there are any specific aspects which you would want me to address, I will be happy to, and also take some questions. Having said that, also one last point which I would like to mention is, when we start off, at least from an IP perspective, we should be able to put up a provisional application, which gives confidence to the review committee, and thereafter, at least from a conventional application, or for that matter, even from a PCT application, you still have a year's time to put or generate data to file a full application. So not necessarily you should have filed a full application. At least if you have a provisional application which has been filed, it adds to the credibility. Yeah, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Syed. I think a couple of important points which you mentioned here, is absolutely right about intellectual property, because you may have to disclose sometime in order to get the grant. If the reviewers have, or panelist has questions, and you may have to disclose some of the important things. It's better to have the IP. However, nobody make it compulsion that you should disclose everything. However, if some people are not able to understand, the important technical things, they may tend to give or may give lower scores, which can pull down your geometric mean and again your chance of getting the grant. So it's better to file a provisional application to protect your idea or something, so that you can you are not really worried about the IP related part. However, you should not disclose more than what you have not said in the provisional. Sometimes provisional, it's just idea which you are protecting. You're not really giving a lot of details there. So again, you will have to be very careful if you have not submitted your complete specification, that how much you are disclosing. Again, here your BIG partner will help you to understand on that aspect as well. So you'll have to be careful while choosing your BIG partner, and then you'll have to discuss all these things with them. Thank you for bringing that, Dr. Syed. And the other is that, the regulatory aspect in terms of healthcare, while you're preparing a proposal, there could be, questions on the regulatory, and I'm sure Dr. Syed has faced that questions. So all that background work is necessary. But Dr. Syed, and since you are, working in this area for a long time, it's not really your first grant or, just this work. I know that you're working on many such projects. Some innovators or students here at really early stage, probably they may not understand, how to even approach for getting this regulatory advices, even IP related, there it becomes incubator and BIG partners, the point where they could start asking this question. But from an applicant perspective, could you also suggest something for these people, how they can work on this, let's say in healthcare segment, if you would like to highlight something, how they can start preparing if they are really at early stage, if some points on that talk.
Couple of things is, one is the CDSEO website is well updated, and it very clearly gives out the guidelines. If you're working on a diagnostic, or for that matter a therapeutic, or even for that matter a vaccine in the biotech space, I would urge the startups to please log on to the CDSEO website, and it's clearly articulated as to what are the different stages which when you will have to go through the to get through the regulatory framework. That's point number one. If any startup is specifically working on the vaccine space, then there is also another guidance on the WHO website, which is called the WHO TRS, the Technical Report Series. This, they give it pathogen by pathogen or vaccine candidate by candidate. So this also gives a lot of clarity in terms of how to approach if you are working on a vaccine from the vaccine perspective. The CDSEO also has a PRO cell which supports startups, and the email ID is already given in the CDSEO website. So you can write to them, you can seek some guidance and get clarity from a regulatory perspective, which is very important. If any of the startup wants any consultation, because we are working on the vaccines, diagnostics, and the novel biologic space, Dr. Pranita, we have a regulatory team which is very well experienced and very well has an all-encompassing knowledge. We should be able to give some preliminary suggestion and guidance as well. So that's part of our responsibility to SINE. And of course, the kind of help that you and Dr. Bratati have given us, I mean, it is difficult to describe in words, but you have handheld us all through the process till the time we got our first milestone payments into our accounts. So from that perspective, I think people who apply with the SINE are fortunate enough. It's not to appreciate just because I'm part of the panel, but this is just our experience that we've gone through.
Thank you, Dr. Syed. I think I miss Bratati at this moment because she was majorly, part of this. But yeah, thank you, Dr. Syed. And as he rightly pointed out, your BIG partners and incubators will help you in this journey while you are figuring out, answers to all these questions while even you are applying. So it is really important that you get in touch with all the BIG, relevant BIG partner before you apply for under BIG, so that you understand all this. Several, questions on that in the Q&A chat box. I think I've answered on that. From this we can have a preliminary. We can understand your question. A very preliminary understanding from our end because of unlimited time here, but then please do get in touch with us so that we can resolve these questions. And thank you, Dr. Syed, for joining us here. I think if you could please stay here for another couple of minutes, few more minutes. We would like to take questions if there are any relevant question to which you need to address. So we would like you to be part of that. Thank you for joining us. I think we have also one of our panelists, Dr. Bhan, joined now. But even before going to him, there is one hand raised for a very long time in the audience. I would like to unmute. Parish, can you just unmute yourself and go ahead with your question? Parish, you can unmute yourself. Yeah, please go ahead with your question.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Good evening. We have a product which is 100% environment friendly, and there is an innovation in that. The product which we're talking about is there is a lot of menace of plastic, nowadays all over the world. Because of the plastic, the disposal problem is there. No dumping grounds are available. Billions of sea animals are dying. Okay, it evaporates toxic gases in there. It it is because of that the ozone layer is depleting, and every year a lot of heat is generated. So we manufacture a plastic film which immediately dissolves in water. Within a minute it becomes water, and it is 5 times stronger than the polyolefin. Polyolefin family, they're all plastic like LDP, HDP, LLDP, VLDP, PP. Many plastics are there. Sure. So it is 5 times stronger than that, with having good heat seal properties, and there is no static power generated because it does not require any electrical corona.
Parish, if you could come to the question, if you have which you have.
Yeah, so for that we are looking for, because there is an innovation in that, but then we are lagging behind because of funds. So we wanted to have a government grant for that, as well as the low rate of interest. So there is a lot of there are a lot of opportunities coming to our way.
Yeah. So I think BIG is one of those grants, and of course, not just BIG, but there are other grants from DST, as well. There are many other opportunities. Parish, if you could just get in touch with us, because we need to understand the stage of the product, where are you in terms of, startup and all that, and what are your commercialization plan? Probably will be, we can take this offline. We have already shared our email address. Please do write to us. We will immediately schedule a meeting with you in the coming week or the same week, and then we can discuss and we can guide you accordingly. We would definitely like to do that, and thank you for joining us.
I'm sorry, can I know where are you located?
We are in Mumbai. We are IIT Bombay, SINE IIT Bombay. So we are in.
Yeah. I am also in Mumbai only.
Sure. So Paresh, why don't you write to us? So we share number with you. We have a discussion, quick call, and then we can decide how
I'll write
to.
to you. I'll write to you on the email ID which is shared by you.
Sure. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So I think Dr. Bahan, Dr. Bhan has joined us now. Thank you, Dr. Bhan, for joining us. And before that, Dr. Kalpana Shastri, who is another panelist from Agri, Agri team, she also was part of it, and then she also said, advise our audience on a couple of things. Here, similarly, Dr. Ban, we would also like to know from your end is, about you are now, panelist and been a part of BIRAC review committee for such a long time, and your suggestion how overall applicants should prepare on this. Sometimes they lack something, that's why they are given a feedback and asked to come back next cycle. What are those evaluation parameters which you look critically, where you feel that most of the applications are lacking, all that. But I think, I'm sorry, I have not introduced you to the audience. I'll quickly do that. So Dr. Anand Ban, who is joined now, and he is basically a physician with master's degree in bioethics from University of Toronto. As I've already mentioned, he has been supporting and involved in several BIRAC initiatives as reviewers, mentor, expert, and we are fortunate enough to have him in our network as well. He's also a researcher in global health, bioethics, health policy. His work is focused mainly on ethics and equity in health, mental health, digital health, public health ethics, research ethics, community engagement, ethics of innovative technologies, ethics training of professionals. So that's his background, but he's been part of many BIRAC committee, if I'm not wrong, mostly diagnostic committee. If you could share your experience, being this part of this committee, and some words of wisdom for our audience here. Some of these are young entrepreneurs, innovators from academia as well, joining us today here. Over to you, Dr. Sir.
Sure, thanks, Pranita, and hi everyone. Sorry I joined a bit late. I had some other commitments, but I promised Pranita that I'll try to drop in. I know it's almost towards the end of the session, but just quickly to Pranita's queries, just some quick thoughts for all of you. One, I would suggest that we all recognize that it is a prestigious scheme, and it is an opportunity where there is the possibility of getting a lot of inputs, guidance, right? So if you get selected, that is certainly something which brings a lot of recognition with it, but it is also at the same time a very competitive scheme, because of course now in its 23rd avatar, I think it's now well established as one of the leading grant schemes in the biotech entrepreneurship space. So keep that in mind, because sometimes proposals come with variable quality. We've all seen very good proposals, but there are proposals which are basically sometimes repurposed, repackaged last minute from some other scheme, and you can clearly see that they have not even perhaps read through the guidance document of the big scheme, etc. So keep that in mind, that make sure that your application is tailored to the big scheme specifically. The second thing I'd like to say is that your science really needs to be robust. But remember that this is primarily not a science funding opportunity, right? So some projects do not make it even at the screening level because they are seen as being primarily science projects, right? Which would be going to a DBT or a DST or to the agri science funding bodies. The big scheme is primarily a biotech entrepreneurship funding scheme, right? So if your project reads primarily as a science project where you're doing something which should be happening in a lab, or which will lead to a paper, but not a product, it will probably be rejected. So do make sure that the business part of things is thought through and it is reflected in the application. Now, your application or your proposal will have limited time, and you'll have limited time to make it, and of course, you'll have limited space in terms of the content. Often, one of the things which happens is there is a lot of focus on the background and the problem statement, but not enough on what exactly your idea is. What is it that you're proposing? Why is it the right fit for big? Why do you think you are the right team to be able to do it? So make sure that the bulk of what you're writing actually focuses on that, because that is what you're going to be evaluated against. And of course, allied things would be, what is your business plan? how are you going to commercialize it? How is your team the right team to be able to fund it, right? So making sure that the big mandate is reflected in your proposal is extremely important. Also big, while it is coming from BIRAC, which is a Section 8 company, it is public money, right? So it's different from, let's say, investor money. It's different from VC money. It is different from a foundation. There is going to be an element of evaluation, which is around, is this the right use of public funds, right? So make sure that the connect with Indian problems, with Indian public health, Indian agri issues, or whichever domain you're dealing with, it clearly reflects the need to focus on that, right? Or and shows that, and you don't propose something which has no relevance to India, for example. It's purely a product which is going to be probably of use to in the US, Canada, European markets, etc. One more area where often there is sometimes a gap is the team, right? You might have excellent technology folks, you might have excellent engineers, designers, but you might not have the right partners, right? For example, if you're doing something in the health space, you might need clinicians, if not as team members, then as mentors. You might need a business mentor, so things like that. Think it through. What would make your team more well-rounded in terms of your application? Finding the right incubation partner, I think, is equally important. And sometimes it's by design, who you apply through with, and sometimes you might be partnered with one, but also the right incubation partner will also help you prepare yourself. Should you be selected for future rounds? Because the first stage is only the application and the proposal going in, and then of course if you get selected for the next rounds, then it's a matter of also putting across your pitch to the various panels which are there, right? And that's multiple steps. So making sure that you pick the right incubation partner is extremely important. And also be very clear and be prepared in terms of your thinking around this being an entrepreneurship journey. And this often does require you to be there for the long haul, right? So the committees will want to be satisfied that you've thought this through. If you are an academic, for example, how are you planning to transition? Are you going to form a company? Are you going to leave your academic job and then become a full-time entrepreneur? What else are you doing in terms of making your team stable? How are you going to ensure that these 18 months of big funding, if you're selected, will actually lead to something which is a viable product at some point of time, right? Because something which is too much downstream, 10 years, 15 years, is probably going to have a very difficult regulatory pathway. You've not thought through your competitive landscape. You've not thought through what are the other failures and successes. You've not thought through who are the other folks who've already been funded in the particular domain you want to get funding in. Then you might face some problems. And those are the kind of applications which might be held up, or they might be asked to come back with that kind of data being available. It's not a requirement, but sometimes it's good to have some preliminary data to back up your idea, right? It's not going to be totally held against you if you don't have it, but then your idea really needs to be very, very compelling. It's something which really catches the attention of the review team. So it's sometimes also the case that they might ask you to go back and say, there seems to be some issues with this, or, we really need to see some preliminary data to be able to know if this is going to fly or not. And so you might have to come back, for example, for another round with that kind of data. So if you have some data already because you've done some experiments at your end, or you've done some small scale, again, data collection, then if it's done systematically, also present that and show how that brings value again to the proposal or the idea that you have. And it sort of, again, backs up the concept. So if you do all of that, the likelihood does increase. But again, a lot of these are also things that your incubator partner will coach you through. So make the right choice in terms of who you work with. Other than that, I think, these are just some thoughts. I know you've already probably received other inputs, but I'm also happy to answer any specific questions around things. Yeah. So back to you, Pranit.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Bhan. Just quickly, one question from my end is that you mentioned about all the data and all. How important this concept note and novelty note, and what are your expectations from out of these documents which are attached along with the application? I'm sure probably you have seen those. Sometimes there are these attachments are there, sometimes there are not. Sometimes these are short and crisp. Sometimes they are written, long pages kind of a thing. What are really your expectations as a reviewer from such things? Or maybe titles, how should be titles? Sometimes they're filled with jargon, sometimes they're really twisted, long, intertwined, sometimes they're simple and crisp. Your expectation as a reviewer, what do you if you have any thoughts?
It's thanks. No, that's a good point. Making your titles too jargon filled, too sciencey, without really sort of making it clear what you want to do and how it fits into the remit of big is probably going to be an issue. And similarly, the concept note also. I mean, all of these accessory documents are good to have. Most of us, when we are doing the reviews, do download them, but these then should need to be, they need to back up your primary proposal. Two, they need to be structured in a way where they're easy to follow. For example, something which is visual clearly shows the pathway of what you're trying to do, shows the evidence in a summary way. And then you have more information which adds on to that. If it's like a long essay, which no one can make any sense of, then it's just going to probably distract the reviewer. So maybe that's something to keep in mind. So sharp, concise, and also maybe more visual would be a good idea. And just sort of make sure that whatever documents you're adding on are relevant to your application. You just don't add on information for the sake of it. But it's good to have that information, because sometimes in just the plain concept note, there's not enough information available. So having those additional documents helps us better understand what exactly is being used.
Thank you, Dr. Ban. I think those are like important suggestions which we have received from Dr. Bhan here. So please take a note of it, and while you are preparing your application for BIG, try to incorporate, as he rightly pointed out. And I have been saying this. There are 8 BIG partners. You can get in touch with appropriate BIG partner. We are one of them. Do talk to us before submitting your application. Get all the help which you can receive from the BIG partner before you submit the application. I think we have one hand raised here, and we are past 5:35. But Priyanka, please go ahead with your question. You can unmute yourself. Go ahead.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening. Yes, Priyanka.
I have the question that if one product like diagnostic purpose, if any medical devices developed by own academic institutions, then how it can be commercialized?
Yeah, I think in the chat box, I tried to answer that. For example, Priyanka, I'll tell you what happens at IIT Bombay and see if you can relate to that. So if somebody is working on some technology, translational research, which can be converted into a product or technology, which can be commercialized. For example, there have been few examples. Some of the student, and I know some of these because they're incubated with us, they are applied under BIG, they got the BIG, and they developed the product further through that fund, which they got under BIG. And now they incorporate a startup once they got the grant, and then they have now they have developed a couple of products, one which is licensed to industry, one which they are taking it directly to the market. So this is how you can take it to the commercialize the products which are developed in academia. However, there is one more route, is that there is always a licensing, technology licensing through your institute or something. If you have an IP cell, you can license your technology. If you have filed a patent and patent is granted or something, or if it is in process, somebody is interested, you can license that technology through your organization, if there is a mechanism to do that. And here at IIT Bombay, we do have that mechanism. So somebody who doesn't want to incorporate a startup but just develop a good product or technology, that can also be commercialized through that angle. And the innovators, student, faculty member who work on that, they get benefited through that. So Priyanka, if you need more information on that, do get in touch with us, do write to us and discuss with us.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Priyanka, for joining us. I think, okay, then we have another question from Chandra Mauli. Please go ahead with your question.
Hi.
Okay, sorry. I think, are you able to unmute yourself? Hello?
Yeah, I could unmute myself. Yes.
Okay.
Hi. Hi, good evening, everybody, and thank you. It was really a pleasure, joining this conversation. I just wanted, I think I don't have one question, but a couple of questions, which are quick ones, right? No, just small ones, don't worry. Fundamentally, I am saying, is it typically is the grant 50 lakhs or nothing, or are there portions which are given? Point number one. Point number two, we were going through the website on which the application submission has to happen. There seems to be a whole lot of information that is asked, which is not really related to the idea per se, because the point where the idea information has to be uploaded or given seems to be relatively small, while there is peripheral information seems to be large. Is it done on purpose, or is there a real reason for that? And third and not the least important is that we are working in an area called digital therapeutics, which is basically using virtual reality for pain management. We wanted to know which would be the most appropriate partner with whom we could work amongst the big partners. So that we are based out of Hyderabad. I don't know if IKP would be the one, or will there be more appropriate partners which would be able to help us?
Okay, thanks. I think you have 3 questions. I'll also try to answer in parts. So the first question was basically about funds, right? So it is up to 50 lakh grant, up to 50 lakhs. So it could be anything anything up to 50, but the whatever is amount is sanctioned to you, it will release to you in the tranches. There are 3 tranches. Each tranche will be 30% of your entire amount, and the last 10%, is the reimbursement. So when you complete the project, submit the project report, you will get that last 10%, which is remaining as a reimbursement. So that is about your first question. Now the second question, I will try to answer it, and probably I would also request if any panelist, Dr. Bahan or Dr. Syed here, you would like to answer that as well. So, of course, the thing which you mentioned is that technical section is a section. It is also a significant section where you'll be filling information. Now, why the other information is also there, for example, this grant is for commercialization. It is not any exploratory, grant which is written for any scientific project. So here, what important is it to understand, people are applying from where, what is their background, whether they have an intent, where are they currently located, whether they have an intention to going ahead, commercialize this particular, work, for which they're asking the funds. Okay, so it is not just the grant which is given to develop some technology per se, but it is there is an angle for a commercialization. For that is why there are so much other sections which are really extensive, where you'll have to upload the objectives, milestone, then the budget, and then there are other section about your go-to-market strategy, commercialization plan, regulatory, IP. All this becomes really important for the reviewers to understand about your project very well, whether you are aware about what all needs to be done, because it's just 18 months and 50 lakh. The limit, time is also limited, money is also, funds are also limited. So whether you have everything available with you, do you understand this area properly and very well? Of course, there is a support from other partners, your incubation center, your BIG partners, mentors, advisor. There will be progress review from the BIRAC, where expert will also guide you if you get the grant. All that will happen. However, all this is just to understand the, about this. I think I'll also ask other panelists to comment on this. And regarding your third question about your BIG partners, see, BIG partners, of course, you should choose BIG partners wisely if they're aligned with the focus of your application and their focus and all that. Of course, accessibility is one thing. However, BIG partners need not to be available in the same geographical location. We have been seeing that. We have people applying from Bangalore. We have people applying from even a north. Even I've mentioned one of the technology here. One of the enthusiasts is from Northeast. It need not to be really need to be in the same geographical location, because nowadays most of the thing happens virtually. Of course, your incubation center is something where you'll have to be associated physically. So you have to choose your incubation center where it is really feasible for you to located nearby and do your work. So that is important, necessary. So that's about the BIG partner. If you would like to discuss more, we are open for that discussion. Do write to us. We have put in our email address here, SINE_BIG. Please do write to us. I think on the other section, if somebody would like to, comment on that, otherwise we can move to next section, but we would definitely like to discuss with you. Do write to us. I hope I answered some of your questions.
You answered all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay. Can we have another question from okay, so Satyajit Mohanty, please go ahead with your question.
Yes, madam. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, madam. Actually, I have a question. Like, if I have some technologies already taken as a license from, like, for example, from National Horticultural Department, they have a few technologies in food processing or essential oil production, something like that. So I have a plan to take some license from them. To commercialize that, can I apply here for that funding through BIG?
Okay. See, it is possible to, it is also possible that you license some technology and further work on that, build something on that basic technology you take and build a product here in this grant. That is possible because it is till POC, proof of concept. So there is some basic technology which is developed at academia and you would like to build a product on that. That could be possible. There have been some examples, where we have seen grant is supported. However, there would be some documents which will be checked whether you have all the rights, freedom to operate. Then you have all the technology license related document available with you. However, if the product is completely ready, for example, then probably this is not the right grant to apply because this is just till proof of concept. Okay, then there are other BIRAC follow-on funding which are available for commercialization of the product. Those are also available. So we would, in an offline meeting, we would like to understand more about these, the stage of your solution or the technology which you are going to license and all that, and your further plans, and we can accordingly tell you which will be the right grant to apply. Okay, so probably we'll need more details which may not be able to discuss here, but do write to us, get in touch with us. We would definitely like to discuss.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Subrata, please go ahead. I think we'll take one more question because we are past 5:45. Yeah, please go ahead, Dr. Subrata.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are audible.
Basically, we are in agro-based business for the last 15 years. And we have a long chain of farmers, women, self-help groups, unemployed youth, and they all are in businesses we have developed for them, from fishery to food processing, modern farming. We are in a project to start a model village. As you know, in 2014, Government of India started a priority project on MPs, Others Village Yojana. So like that, every MPs have been given a target of 3 villages to be developed. Now, we do have a very big experience in developing a few villages. As in fishery, we have developed an internationally famed project in West Bengal, Maina, where 1,15,000 of our students in a combined system under Farmer Producer Company Limited are fetching more than 400 trucks of fresh fish, and the turnover is in millions. Okay. Similarly, in Eastern Himalayas, in Darjeeling, in Kalimpong, in Sikkim, we have developed lot of means more than 9,000 homestay tourism projects.
Okay.
So these are very holistic projects, and we have done it voluntarily.
Okay.
So we have a small incubator system, a mobile incubator system in a van. We take it to them in the most challenged areas of Sundarban.
Dr. Subrata, sorry to interject. If you could come to a question.
My question is, this type of projects, other Gaon projects, food processing parks, are they eligible for your criteria for? This is a question and nothing more.
Okay, got it. Dr. Subrata, I think thank you for joining us, and thank you for your question. However, biotechnology ignition grant, it says that there should be some bio component, or there should be there are AI, IoT, ML platforms also supported, which has an application. Now, this is definitely looks like something sustainable. However, again, as I've already mentioned previously to certain people, you also given us some details, and I've already mentioned my email address to you in the chat box. Is that do write to us. It seems really interesting. We will try to see if this or maybe some other grant which can help to do that. We'll definitely try to see or work on that or discuss with you. So do write to us, and we will definitely like to discuss with you if BIG is a relevant scheme or not. Maybe after talking to you, I think getting more details under that sustainability, something what all, if we can do anything, focus something which can come under BIG or something, or maybe go under other DST related scheme or other, there are several schemes from several different ministries. So we can check that as well, definitely. Do write to us, Dr. Subrata.
Thank you, man. Thank
you. Yeah, thank you so much. I think we'll take just one more question. Atul here has raised his hand. Atul, please go ahead and please be very brief in your question so that I can answer this. Yeah, Atul, please go ahead.
Ma'am, in the website, along the application, there's one document called the user guide. In that, the accessory documents that you told, the concept note, all those are not mentioned.
Right.
Can you give a list of the accessory documents?
Atul, I lost you. I'm not. Yeah. Atul.
Share it. If possible, this slide.
Atul, I think we are. No, there is some technical issue, but I got your question. I definitely got your question. You're asking about accessories, attachment.
Yeah.
Atul, actually, you're not audible.
Yeah, the list of accessory attachments.
Sorry, Atul, you're not audible, but I really got your question. So, Atul, you need accessories which or attachments which should be there with the application. I think what we'll do is that. Yeah, what we'll do is that we will send you the list of that. If once you send us write an email to us to respond to that, we will attach all this so that you get an idea about what needs to be submitted. I think with this, I think we need to close here because we're already it's 5:51. We got stretched really long. But thank you all for joining us. We would like to thank our panelists, Dr. Bhan, Dr. Shastri, who was here, Dr. Sayyed. Thank you so much for agreeing to be here for this session and accommodating my request at very short notice, a last moment, I'll say. So thank you, last moment. So thank you so much, everyone. And special thanks to all our ecosystem partner for collaborating with us for this particular session, and of course the participant attendees here for being here patiently listening to us, being part of this interactive session, whether it is a Q&A chat box or here. Thank you all. Thank you everyone, and have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was nice meeting you, ma'am. Yeah.
Sure. And thanks to Priyanka too for facilitating it. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.